Good morning, Mike. Yeah, I hold dual citizenship, the U.S. and Israel, and I've lived there for a long time. Your take on the Israel-Hamas war is so absurdly simplistic, it's embarrassing and insulting.
Okay, hold on one second. So, gentlemen who screen phone calls all the time, is this a troll caller or is this someone who wants to have an actual conversation? What is our vote? Troll. Man, what a bummer. So this is a bummer. So I would love to have a real conversation. Be happy to have a real conversation. That's not what this gentleman is interested in. Let's give it, against my better judgment, let's give it a couple seconds to see. Now, what you can see, this is what you need to pay attention to. Tone of voice. So there's people who have a curious tone. That's what you want to look for. You want to look for someone who has a curious tone. Hold on, Slater. You said X. I think Y may actually be true. What do you think? That's someone with a curious tone. That's a genuine person. That's who you want to talk to. This is an angry. You don't see the difference. All right, so let's see how it goes. Mel, back in Arkansas. Mel, why am I so wrong here?
Yeah, I try.
By the way, what's your real name?
I tell you all the time, but this is not one of them.
Okay, real quick, hold on. What's your real name? Let's start with that level of honesty.
Why don't you think it's Mel in Arkansas?
Okay, I'll give you one last chance, Mel. If we're going to have a real conversation, we can at least start with the honesty of a name.
Okay, my name is Jacob in New York.
Very good, Jacob. Thank you for that. Go ahead, sir.
So, it's so clear you dismiss the absurdly high number of civilian casualties in Gaza. Now, I'm not excusing Hamas. They're the bad guys. Civilian casualties are going to happen. There's going to be collateral damage. But do you agree that at some point there's too much collateral damage? Is it possible to have way too much, and that just maybe Israel could accomplish their goal, but also lessen the number of civilian casualties? Or is it just easier to dismiss it as, oh, well, it came from Hamas, the numbers. Of course, they're super inflated.
Yeah, listen, that's a valid question. What's the number they're throwing out? Is it 10,000 for some reason? I think 10,000. I've heard that number.
No,
10,000.
30,000 is the number that tends to be put out there right now.
Okay.
But let's say
we'll go with 30,000.
Let's say it's only quote unquote 15,000. Okay.
Sure. So I think there is a point where Hamas should give up.
Of course Hamas should give up. Of course Hamas should release the hostages. Hamas is to blame here. However, Israel is never going to have peace, is never going to be safe until they have peace. And to just annihilate these people and inflame the rest of the Arab world is not going to get them anywhere in the long term. So while it feels really good to say, well, let's just turn Gaza into a parking lot. Who cares? Whatever. Look how tough we are.
Yeah, I never said that.
Well, that makes
said that.
That makes us feel good. But guess what? It's not sustainable over the long term. And to simply dismiss, oh, well, there's 10 gazillion dead Palestinian civilians, who cares? It's naive and short-sighted.
Whoa. All right, Jacob, hold on. You asked a question earlier, and I thought that was good. Hold on. Not saying who cares. Never said who cares. My questioning of that was how many of them are terrorists and how many are, quote unquote, if that's even possible, or whatever that even means, I should say, innocent civilians. And I find that odd that we are putting those together as one big number. Because I can't understand what's happening. Let's say 10,000 because it's easy to understand. What if there's 999,000 terrorists and one innocent person? versus one innocent person versus one terrorist and 990 right. Like it's like, oh, like I don't know, you got to distinguish between those, which is very difficult to do, I understand, but just to put it as one big number, I can't think clearly as to what's really happening, and that's the point, to make it not clear.
Let's say it's 50-50, okay? It's a very, very high number. Another question I never hear asked is, what exactly is defeating Hamas? Now, you could make an argument that defeating Hamas is incarcerating or killing every Palestinian male between the ages of 18 and 55. And I don't know, maybe that is the way to go. Maybe it isn't. But what exactly is defeating Hamas? Because these guys are not exactly in uniforms carrying ID cards saying, hi, I'm a member of Hamas. So how exactly do you defeat it?
Yeah, I don't know. And when this all started, I said Israel is in just the toughest spot ever. I couldn't imagine a tougher situation, especially when you have.
Now you're having an intelligent.
Hold on, let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought. I'm just putting my hold real quick. I'm just putting on hold. An incredibly difficult position they're in, especially when they are literally surrounded by their enemies, and when their biggest ally, the United States, doesn't fully have their back, makes it even more. It's an impossible situation. There's no question. And that's a shame, obviously. But this is exactly what Hamas wants. This is what they're doing. This is their goal. It's going swimmingly for them. Jacob, I'll give you last thought. We got a couple calls here, but I'll give you last thought here. Go ahead.
But what you just said, Israel, the United States does not fully have their back. We do. But we're just not going to allow them to completely annihilate and demolish all of Gaza, because it ain't going to get them anywhere. Yeah, it'll keep Netanyahu in power and out of jail, kind of like you know who, but it ain't going to get the country anywhere. And Biden is smart enough, frankly, to see that. So to say we don't have their back is absurd and insulting.
That's interesting. Okay, hold on. Let's slow down with the is absurd. Okay, I don't know if your goal is to dunk or to change minds, but just so you know, if you say you're absurd, someone's going to get a little more defensive. So I think you're a smart person. I think you can maybe elevate to trying to change someone's mind. Let's slow that down a little bit. Let's take that back a little bit. Slater, I think you're mistaken by your estimate there. And I think that's not a terrible thought. I disagree, but that's not the worst. You say it's not going to get them anywhere. Or you said earlier, something, this is not sustainable. This is just killing everyone in Gaza. This current situation is not very sustainable either. Like the October 6th really wasn't sustainable either, as we saw based on October 7th. All right, so that's not sustainable. Also, I don't know if there's ever been a war fought with more discretion. Too much discretion, but I would argue. But I don't know if there's ever been a battle or war fought with more discretion than the Israelis are putting on here. Let's go to. But Jacob, listen. Back and forth. That was nice, wasn't it? We'll go to David, who's in Florida. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mike. Simple question: why does the overall population hate Jews? Simple as that.
Do you have an answer?
I think if they're jealous.
Yeah, that's Ayn Rand's answer. That's what Ayn Rand said a minute ago. Let me see if I can pull that quote back up here.
Oh, did it? Jews seem like they have their act together, and they always make money.
Sure, of course.
I just think people are just jealous of them. They just despise them because of that.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid.
Yeah. No, of course. Thomas Sowell has a whole chapter about this called "Are the Jews? Are the Jews generic? Are the Jews generic?" And his argument is that the Jews, wherever they go, have always been the middleman. And there's more to it, but if you want to Google that, you can find it. Ayn Rand said they're the advanced, technologically civilized country, a group of almost totally primitive savages who have not changed for years, who resent Israel bringing industry, intelligence, and modern technology into their stagnation. I think that's probably, although they're God's people, is the other thing. So let's go to Steve in Ohio. Steve, we got about 1 minute. You can have it all.
Let's see if I can do this. Jacob, I don't want to demean him, but his view of this thing is very myopic. If you start all the way from the beginning and what precipitated this military action, it was an attack on the civilians, unarmed civilians, in the most heinous way. So what is Israel to do? Sit back and say, well, gosh, that was terrible. Don't do that again. They've had enough. They've had enough of the rockets that have been lobbed in there day after day. They have had enough of the constant attacks, subterranean that are accessible through their subterranean living conditions, I guess, for lack of a better way to say that. And so at some point, you've got to make a stand, and they're making their stand. Is it unfortunate that the Palestinians hide behind women and children, hide in hospitals, hide in schools?
Of course. Steve, I got to cut you off. They want you to forget about October 7th, everything you just said. Hamas wants to draw it out so you forget about it, and then they'll win. And I think Biden's helping them do that.